Hello, friends. Welcome to this channel of exciting real-life stories. Today, we tell an incredible and moving story about Jessica's life. She mirrors the tedious life that some behind the scenes go through in her reality. Let's travel together in this story. Jessica was born under a starry sky in the quiet village of Ellsworth, a forgotten nook in the heart of the United Kingdom, where rolling hills meet the horizon and wildflowers dance to the whims of the wind. She was the jewel of her family, a child with lively eyes and a smile that illuminated cloudy days and dark nights. Jessica's childhood was marked by enchanting simplicity. She ran barefoot through the green fields, her golden curls floating in the wind, painting a portrait of freedom and innocence. Elmsworth, with its stone houses and blooming gardens, was a stage where the little girl took the first steps of a dance that would define her existence. Jessica's mother, Ava, was a woman of serene beauty and silent strength. She watched her daughter dance with the winds and knew deep within that Jessica was destined for greatness. Roberto and Luisa, the younger siblings, saw in Jessica an almost mythical figure, a sister who touched the stars with her fingers and brought magic into their simple world. At 12, Jessica's passion for dance transformed from a gentle breeze into a sweeping gale. Every movement, every gesture was a visual symphony that told stories of unspoken passions and unrealized dreams. She didn't just dance. Jessica became the dance, a free spirit that defied conventions and touched the souls of those privileged to witness her art. Jessica's fame spread beyond the confines of Elmsworth. Invitations to dance at events and festivals began to arrive, and the small village became a pilgrimage site for those wishing to witness the rise of a star. But with the light of fame came the shadows of sacrifice. Eva, the rock upon which Jessica stood, began to show signs of an illness that whispered promises of storms on the horizon. Jessica's dance, once an expression of pure joy, began to be tinged with the melancholic colors of worry and fear. The young dancer, on the threshold of the woman she would become, found herself torn between two worlds. In the stage lights, she was the rising star, the dancer whose movements enchanted and seduced. But in the shadows of real life, Jessica was the devoted daughter of a sick mother, the protective sister of Roberto and Luisa, who looked up to her with eyes full of admiration and uncertainty. The dawn of Jessica's star was as bright as it was ephemeral, a light that illuminated the stages but cast deep shadows in the silent corridors of her home in Elmsworth. With every applause, every praise, the reality of Eva's condition became more tangible, a cruel reminder that every rise is accompanied by a fall, every light by a shadow. And so, on the threshold of a promising career and facing the relentless reality of the human condition, Jessica's dance of life took on a more complex tone, a melody of triumphs and tragedies, of lights and shadows that would define the course of her extraordinary journey. Jessica was an incredible dancer. When she danced, she resembled a fairy, light and graceful. Everyone who saw her dance applauded and smiled. But when the music stopped and the lights went out, Jessica returned to a very different home. Her mother, Ava, was ill. She couldn't leave her bed, and her face always appeared sad and tired. Rosita and her siblings, Roberto and Luisa, lived in a small old house that could be pulled by a donkey. It wasn't a home like others, with no beautiful rooms or a blooming garden. It was cramped and cold, especially during the night. Often, Jessica, Roberto, and Luisa went to sleep hungry. There wasn't enough food. Jessica tried to smile at her siblings, tell them beautiful stories to make them forget the hunger, but it was difficult. Sadness was always there, hidden in her eyes. Jessica's mother was growing weaker each day. She needed medicines to feel better, but they were expensive and money was scarce. Jessica felt lost. On stage, she was a star, but at home she was just a frightened girl, trying to be strong for her family. Every applause Jessica received while dancing, every compliment, was a reminder of a world that seemed far removed from her reality. She wore beautiful, shining clothes on stage, but at home, her clothes were plain and worn. The night was the hardest time. Jessica lay beside her mother, holding her cold hand and listening to her weak breathing. Roberto and Luisa slept nearby, their innocent faces illuminated by the faint moonlight that entered through the small window of the cottage. Jessica looked at her family, and tears fell. She was an incredible dancer, loved by many, but she couldn't make her mother's pain disappear, couldn't fill her siblings' bellies with food, couldn't turn their old cottage into a warm, welcoming home. Every night, while the world applauded Jessica, the star dancer Jessica, the girl with a family who needed her, cried in silence. She danced between two worlds, one bright and filled with applause, and another dark and silent, where sadness and hunger resided. And so, each day, while Jessica soared on stage like an enchanted fairy, the shadow of sadness grew in her heart, a silent dance of pain and hope that no one saw, but that Jessica felt with every step, every leap, every applause. Eva's illness worsened with each passing day, like a growing shadow stretching over the small family. The mobile little house, which once symbolized freedom and adventure, had now become a gloomy refuge of pain and despair. With every weak cough from Eva, every heavy sigh, Jessica felt the weight of the world on her young yet resilient shoulders. The extraordinary dancer who enchanted crowds and received thunderous applause transformed at night into the devoted daughter, holding her mother's hand, feeling life slowly slip through her fingers. Roberto and Luisa, with big and confused eyes, didn't fully comprehend the storm forming around them, but they felt the coldness of the rain and the roar of the thunder in their little hearts. A fateful night arrived, a night where the moon hid behind dark clouds and the stars seemed to weep. Eva, with tired eyes yet full of love, looked at Jessica for the last time. Words were not spoken, but a silent communication of eternal love and farewell occurred between mother and daughter. That night, Eva departed from this world. The pain was unbearable, an abyss of despair that threatened to swallow Jessica whole. But amidst the storm of mourning, a cruel and inescapable responsibility called her. A grand show was scheduled for that night, a show where Jessica was the star, the fairy who danced amongst the stars. With a broken heart, Jessica left the mobile little house, left Roberto and Luisa with the silent mother, and stepped into a world of bright lights and deafening applause. That night, her dance was a mix of despair and beauty, a performance that touched the soul of every spectator, though they were unaware of the tragedy unfolding behind the young dancer's shining eyes. Jessica danced with her soul laid bare, each movement an expression of love for her mother, each step a silent farewell. The audience, oblivious to the tragedy, saw only the beauty and passion and applauded fervently. When the lights went out and the applause dissipated, Jessica returned to her gloomy reality. The night was silent, the mobile house colder than ever. Roberto and Luisa, with swollen eyes, embraced Jessica, and together they faced the darkness of the night and the absence of their beloved mother. The money Jessica earned that tragic and magical night afforded Eva a dignified farewell. The village of Elmsworth, which watched Jessica grow and transform, gathered in solidarity and mourning. Jessica's story does not end here. The young dancer, marked by tragedy and adorned by glory, continued to dance between two worlds. A world of bright lights and thunderous applause, and another of silence and shadows, where Eva's memory danced with her in every performance. With every applause, every praise, the memory of Eva, Roberto, and Luisa remained, a silent reminder of Jessica's dual existence, an existence where light and shadow, joy and sadness danced together, intertwined in an eternal dance of love, loss, and hope. Hi, friend. What impressed you about this duality in Jessica's life? Leave your comment in the video description. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell for more exciting stories. I wish you a big hug. We are together.